Hello and welcome to the FAQ Shack. This is the show where we dive deep into your most burning questions about, well, just about anything. And today we are tackling a question that has become a true internet legend.
Our question this week comes from a listener, Curious Crustacean 22, who asks about a process called carcinization. Now, you might know it better by the meme, everything eventually evolves into a crab. So is this just a hilarious internet joke, or is there some honest-to-goodness science behind it?
So yeah, is our planet just destined to become one big crab party? Let's find out what evolution is really cooking up.
Well, it turns out this whole meme actually has a proper scientific name, carcinization. And yes, it is a very real and frankly a totally fascinating evolutionary process.
So what is it? Simply put, carcinization is when a crustacean that doesn't look like a crab, think something more like a lobster or a shrimp, evolves over millions of years into a form that is distinctly, unmistakably crab-like. And what's absolutely wild is that this isn't some one-off event. It has happened again and again.
You can really see the transformation pretty clearly here. You start with an elongated, kind of shrimp-like body, and it gets squashed down and widened out into that familiar crab shape. The most obvious change? That long, vulnerable tail gets tucked neatly away.
To get a bit more specific, there are three key changes that really define this crab body plan. First, the carapace, that's the main body shell on its back, it gets a lot wider and flatter. Second, the sternum, which is basically its chest plate, broadens out. And third, the pleon, that's just the fancy scientific word for the tail, it shrinks down and gets folded right underneath the body.
So you have to wonder, right? Was this just a one-hit wonder? A single evolutionary pathway that was so good it just kind of stuck around?
Not even close. Scientists have found that the crab body plan has evolved independently in totally different groups of crustaceans at least 5 separate times. 5! I mean, that is a textbook example of what's known as convergent evolution. And this illustrates the result perfectly. We have what scientists call true crabs and false crabs. They look incredibly similar, almost identical, but they are not closely related at all. They just happen to arrive at the same body shape from completely different evolutionary starting points. It's like nature had this fantastic idea and just decided to reuse the blueprint. Which, of course, leads to the obvious next question. What is so great about being a crab? Why is this particular body plan such a winning ticket in the evolutionary lottery?
Well, scientists have a few leading theories. First, protection. A long tail is basically a big, juicy target for anything that wants to eat you. Tucking it underneath the body protects both the tail and, for females, any eggs they might be carrying. Second, mobility. That wide, flat body is perfect for that famous sideways scuttle to dodge an attack. And finally, concealment. Being flatter just makes it so much easier to squeeze into tight crevices and hide under rocks.
Okay, so that covers the basics. But now it's time to open up the listener mailbag to take this a step further.
This one comes from Evo Enthusiast, who asks if this type of convergent evolution is common and if an animal can evolve out of its crab-like form.
Ooh, great questions.
To answer the first part, oh, absolutely. Convergent evolution is happening everywhere you look. Just take the hedgehog and the tenrec. They look like they could be close cousins, right? Well, the hedgehog is related to shrews, but the tenrec is related to elephants. Seriously, they've been on separate evolutionary paths for over 65 million years, but they both came up with the exact same solution to not get eaten: grow a bunch of spines.
Now for the second part of the question, can this process be reversed? And the answer is a resounding yes. The process is called decarcinization, and it is exactly what it sounds like: losing the crab-like body and reverting back to a more elongated shape.
In fact, while becoming a crab has happened at least 5 times, scientists have found that uncrabbing has happened at least 7 times. And this is so crucial because it shows us that evolution isn't a one-way street. It's all about adapting to whatever works best in your environment, right here, right now.
So let's pull all of this together. What does this obsession with crabs tell us about evolution itself?
Perhaps the most stunning example of all is the mighty king crab. Genetic studies have shown that these symmetrical, powerful creatures actually evolved from asymmetrical, shell-dwelling hermit crabs. I mean, that is a truly dramatic transformation, and it just shows how incredibly creative and powerful evolution can be.
And this isn't even a new idea.
As far back as 1916, the biologist L.A. Borradaile, who actually coined the term, described carcinization as one of the many attempts of nature to evolve a crab. He recognized even then that nature just seemed to keep coming back to this design.
So here's the crucial takeaway. The crab form isn't some evolutionary finish line. It's not the end goal. It's just a very, very successful design for a certain kind of lifestyle. Evolution isn't a ladder climbing towards perfection. It's a huge, branching tree with countless different strategies for survival.
And this leaves us with one final, fascinating question. If the crab shape is one of nature's greatest hits, what are the others? What other successful designs do you see repeating all across the tree of life?
Think about things like wings for flight or fins for swimming. Let us know your ideas down in the comments. We are always looking for new questions to tackle, and we might just feature your topic in a future FAQ Shack explainer. Thanks for watching.